Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Well, today, the Kardashians are on my mind, and I'm entitling this video, Are the Kardashians the Slickest Women That Ever Lived? I'm just going to cut to the chase here and say what everybody else has been saying with my own spin to it. The Kardashians, who have absolutely no talent, have propelled themselves to the top of the celebrity heap and have been able to stay there for about a decade. This is no less than a stroke of genius. They have a beautiful mother, and one of the daughters is very beautiful, but the rest of them are attractive women. So you have these non-talented women who have a clever, strategic mother, and they manage to attach themselves to very successful black men, whether they're in the music business or the sports business, and these men keep them in the limelight because the men they're playing basketball for a professional basketball team, or they're like the top rapper of the year, stuff like that. And so this is where these women get their energy. It's extraordinary. These women have the ability to pick the ones that can fit into the program that they have. I think we cannot underestimate the fact that we're not talking about regular people. They have this ethnic whiteness about them that's appealing, and then these people are not poor, and I don't think that we talk about that enough. These young women were brought up among the wealthy elite of Beverly Hills, so we're talking about white privilege here. So you've got a theme of white privilege meets mandingo going with the Kardashians, and I think that is a part of the appeal. Now, Kim and Kanye were like the centerpiece, and then the sisters with their various flings rounded out. But Kanye West is the one that's the most interesting because I really feel bad. I'm starting to really feel bad for Kanye. At first, I thought Kanye West was just not really facing reality, and he's just chasing behind these people and they're sick of him, and I believe that is still true. But I believe that there's another part to this that we're not seeing. Kanye is really an important part of what they're trying to do. They got kicked off Bravo from that reality show because they had just worn people out. People just worn out from them. And we thought we were finally rid of them. But that was too good to be true. Hulu, this cable network, breathed new life into them. And they've got a whole new show that's coming out in September. And so they need Kanye on that show. Let's just put it that way. They need him to be a part to jumpstart that show and get it popping, as they say. Because the new relationship with Kim, that guy is not interesting. Only to the extent that he will trigger Kanye. And that will give them a storyline. And the reason I was feeling bad for her at first, because I thought that guy is really stalking her. He's stalking her, and he should really stop it. That's what I was thinking. And then I picked up an article. I just read an article on the internet where she's talking about, he's going to be in the first episode of their new reality show. And I thought, now, wait a minute. You're supposed to be getting divorced from this man. You've had yourself declared a single woman. You got a new man. But he's going to be on the first episode of the show after y'all wouldn't even let him go to the birthday party, to the little girl's birthday party. And after she's been posting on social media that she's been trying so hard to work with him, to work everything out, and he's just changing lawyers, making him seem erratic. And then she says he's going to be on the new reality show and we are still a family. And that's keeping him hoping because he clearly doesn't want the divorce. And so they're just handing out just enough to keep him running back, trying to get back in with them, knowing full well she's done with that relationship. So it's really kind of sad on his part. And then it's even worse when you have black men advising him to go out and get a black woman or somebody to make her jealous, not realizing that If it was anything he could do, he would have already done it. And there's probably nobody on this planet that can make her jealous enough to want to get back with him. But the thing that she did, what the clever move that they're making is really insidious. I think it's really insidious. If you want to be rid of a man, you want to be rid of him. But there's some slick chicks. They got him to tape that first episode before she put the paperwork on him. And she announced that he's going to be in the first episode. And she did that to tweak people's interest and make them want to watch that show. So now he's a part of the storyline. So every time they need a ratings boost, they're going to feature something that he's doing. So that keeps them. It's like a kind of a backwards get out situation where they're going to be sucking the blood and energy out of him all the time, demonizing him. Because let's face it, he is entertaining, if nothing else. And there's another thing about this, that the black men, their response, I'm going to go back to that. They've come up with all kinds of, peanut gallery type scenarios about what he could do, trying to make her so jealous that she would want to take him back. It's as if their fantasy has collapsed. This was a fairy tale situation for them. That relationship symbolized a kind of freedom, it seems. That was their escape hatch from blackness, I'm going to say. And it didn't prove anything other than that they know how to pick them. Those Kardashians know how to work a man. But what's really going on with Kanye and black men like that? Let's talk about that for a minute. These scholarly, intellectual type black people keep writing about post-traumatic slave syndrome. That's what this is. These men are trying to undo slavery. The tragedy of slavery stays with us, and somehow we have convinced ourselves that it was harder on black men than it was on black women. So therefore, they need some kind of escapism. They need an escape hatch. And they've decided that equality is with them getting with a white woman, which is going to elevate them to the status of white men, and then that's going to take care of it. Some people call it self-hatred. It's all the same thing. And what many of us didn't get in common sense school is that self-respect is the road to healing and feeling whole again. And you do not gain self-respect when you're placing a higher value on somebody else's acceptance than you're placing on yourself. We cannot undo slavery, but we can begin the healing process by learning to respect ourselves and each other. And that is the key. That is the key. Not just your own self-respect, but respecting your people as well. In dealing with a family like the Kardashians, it's going to be hard for him to do what he needs to do to heal because he's in over his head. He is really in way over his head. Now, I'm going to say this. Kanye was in over his head from the beginning in this relationship. There were 3 strikes against him from the very beginning. There is a racial difference, a class difference, and a culture difference. Those things are hard to overcome in a relationship with people who are stable emotionally and well grounded. It's hard to overcome those things. And he's got 3 strikes against him, and it doesn't seem like he has any family or friends who can get through to him. This is just almost tragic. It's not a Greek tragedy. It's a Black American tragedy. But I honestly feel sorry for him because I don't see how he wins. I honestly don't. I started this video feeling bad for her because they've been in the public eye for a long time. And she's been smiling and grinning and seeming so happy, and I bought it. So I started out feeling bad for her. And I'm ending up feeling bad for him. And I do feel bad for him. And I feel bad for him with the full understanding that he brought this on himself. But it seems like he's being used. And that's what I find troubling, because this is very revealing to me. You want a divorce from him, but you're going to use him. She knew she was going to file for divorce. She knew she was going to try to get herself declared a single woman. She knew all of that. And then they accused him of stealing and stalking, and he does seem to be stalking them, but somebody needs to really talk to this man, because it's obvious that he's not as savvy as he thinks he is. Well, probably nobody can. But these are some clever women, these Kardashians. The men who get involved with them at this point, they're pretty much getting what they deserve, because these people are not hiding who they are. They have exposed themselves over and over and over again. Now, in closing, what does this have to do with exploring African American culture? It's a good question. This is what happens to people who came through the slave system and is still with us. People who are trying to be good enough. Studies suggest that many of these African American men who are trying to build relationships with white women in particular are still suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. They are still trying to be good enough. They are still trying to undo slavery. We cannot undo slavery. The only thing that we can do is go forth, because we have not set any standards for how we should deal with white people. We haven't, and we're not going to be able to make them respect us. We know that. So then the next step then is try to make them love us. And we're trying to make them love us by us loving them. It is a very destructive way of trying to live. You first have to gain respect for yourself. And in respecting yourself, then you need to have respect for your people. The only black people in this country who have gained anywhere a smidgen of respect from white people are black people who advocated for black people. Dr. Martin Luther King would be one, even Malcolm X. They may not say it out loud, but they respect him. Going all the way back, Harriet Tubman. People have respect for her. They're talking about putting her on the $20 bill. Even Nat Turner. These are revolutionaries. Those are the only kind of black people that white people are going to respect. And here's a name that might surprise you, but Ben Crump. White people respect Ben Crump. When he comes, they know he knows the law. He's not afraid to stand with those families who have been victimized, and he stands. And he talks corny and country, but he speaks with authority. He carries himself like a man who has respect for himself and for his people, and who is willing to stand for them and stand with them. That's the kind of man that another man respects. All these black men run around here, the minute they make a dime, they go running off and giving it to white people. They're just spinning their wheels. And they make a lot of money. Then the easiest thing that they do, the people who help them make the money, is to alienate them from their own people, so they end up with the money. But these people who are still trying to be good enough, who are still trying to undo slavery, that slavery was put up on us for a reason. And we cannot buy our way out of it. And we are certainly not going to get out of it by falling in love with the people who had us enslaved in the first place. It's the dumbest thing that black people can do. Some people call it self-hatred, but it's all the same thing. It's post-traumatic slave syndrome. But this is what's going on with these people. And you are not going to win with people who had you enslaved by falling in love with them and giving them all of your money. But we can only pray and hope that we can start breeding a generation of black people who have self-respect and who will learn enough about our past that it can help them and the rest of us. As for Kanye West, he is in deep. He might overcome, but Kanye West is dealing with the slickest women that ever lived, and he is in way over his head. It looks like it's just going to get worse for him. But we can keep him lifted up in prayer. That is a phrase that we use at church, but I've been hearing Gary with the T on Ricky Smiley use that phrase, and I really like it, so I'm borrowing it. All right. Thank y'all for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.